said something about SD cards and things, like zip disks are the thing that I am currently attempting to get data off, where they were like somewhere between floppies and like USB drives.
I remember, yeah.
100 megabytes, and it was super exciting.
I remember, yeah.
Is that something that you have?
I don't have, it was iOmega, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
I have like the drive and I have the disk, but like nothing will make them have to work together.
The operating system I was worked with was like a XP or some really old operating system. And that's kind of the problem.
So if we went back to some...
If you could find an old computer, you might be able to load the software that would then do it. And I'm pretty sure I ran across, I was doing a job for NASA, and they had a backup system. It wasn't the iOmega, but it was something along those lines. And there was multiple generations of them, and they had one of the earliest generations. And I was able to find somebody that still had that PC playing that device, so there's probably still somebody doing iOmegas. So yeah, I'm sure there is. These were just some things, they're probably more for discussion topics because they're things that I think about, and I'm sure you guys do too. But let's start with AI. Where's AI going with all of this, and how can it help us? I would love to be able to use it in filling out metadata. I would like to have it, and I think it will someday, facially recognize everybody in those photos that we don't know who they are. Nobody wrote on the back, the name of the person they took the picture of. So can AI help with that? I think so. Places. I think AI can help figure out where that photo was taken. So, yeah. I don't know any ideas, any other thoughts on AI, where we think this could be?
Yeah. What are your thoughts on using any AI to restore missing parts of images, like when there has been excessive data? I've certainly heard some discussion of using it to sort of generate back what's been lost.
So that's almost like taking Photoshop and taking a crease out of an image, and I could see where it'd be really useful for that. I've tried Topaz AI video to try to re-enhance some 16 millimeter, 8 millimeter film, and it was nothing more than you can do with Photoshop or Premiere.
Not that great yet,
no.
But maybe in 5 years?
Let's hope,
okay.
It would be nice. And if you've ever retouched a photo in Photoshop, it just takes a lot of time. It's just really cumbersome. So yeah, that makes total sense, where it's got enough information to fill in what that line is. But if you take out a quarter of it, it's not going to be able to do anything with that except make something up. So, I don't know. It's interesting to see where it goes. I think it's going to help, I think, a lot, actually.
This may be, I came in late, but at OSU Libraries where I'm working, they're using AI in part to do person recognition, but also accessibility to some degree, like alt text, not long description or audio description, but like enough core description to provide visual information.
So is this for like the blind people? For what is it? So they're going to give...
Yeah, it's for digital accessibility requirements as they are still now. It's hard to know where things are going to go exactly. But then also Whisper AI is used for AV.
I don't know what Whisper is. What is that?
Whisper, it's for captioning. It kind of pulls people, places, things out of like curious orphan works or various recordings and stuff like that. Because we've got all kinds of stuff that's just like oral history recordings or cassettes and boxes and stuff like that.
So it's AI generating a description of what's recorded.
It will generate a description, or it will do that captioning and that transcoding.
Okay.
And like, of course, everybody's like, is this good? Is this bad? There's such a high volume of work.
Yeah.
It's pretty much a helping hand,
Is it accurate?
It's largely accurate, but that's the challenge, is that it hallucinates. So there's
Hallucinates.
yeah. It's largely accurate. Most of the spot checks have been on still images. So it's kind of like a very large digitization project where you can't possibly proofread every single page.
Right.
So they go in and do percent checks.
Mm-hmm.
It's been pretty good. there's an engine out of Arizona. I think maybe Arizona State University. Don't quote me on that, but it's doing a pretty good job.
So it's an AI-based software that's doing the metadata, more or less.
It's like an alt text describer. So it will write the description around the things, and it will do it for. I think Whisper is the thing that's really used for the video more, or Whisper Faster, I think, is what the other tool is called.
Okay.
There's just such a high volume of stuff, like you were saying.
It's a great idea. I can see why that would make sense.
I
Have
have
they
my
made it?
own, about AI.
Have they
But
made?
I'm liking it more with seeing it used this way. I see it used more.
Have they made Whisper available publicly? Is that something we can find?
Source,
It's
yeah,
open
like
source.
Whisper
Okay.
I can look it up.
Oh, I'll look on it. I'll find it.
For the AV stuff.
Yeah. No, good. Thank you. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
good to know.
Yep.
Yeah.
I missed the first part. And what formats do you digitize at your organization? Do you do like a full realm of film and then?
Yeah, we do
Those are the
the
first 3 slides.
8, 16, and 35.
8, 16,
So,
30?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
Mhm. See, I was thinking of something else.
Mostly, yeah, film and VHS, right?
Film,
And
video, all videotape formats. Yeah. Slides, photos, negatives. Yeah.
I was excited to see that you had vinyl in there, because we have, it was some sort of, speak and say kind of thing, where they were, dictating into a weird bendy vinyl record.
Yes.
So that's possible to get?
Yes.
Okay.
And a lot of times they're folded, cracked.
Yes.
Problems. There's also ones that come on cardboard.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the cardboard LPs?
They
Yeah.
used to be able to go into booths and record themselves.
Yeah.
On this
How many
thing.
playbacks do you get off of 5?
I don't think we've gotten a one playable back
Okay.
because it's just, it's creased and it jumps every time the needle. Yeah. So no,
Is it
those aren't.
fixable if there's a crease?
I haven't been able to, but we haven't tried pressing it or heating it. I was too
Yeah, yeah.
worried about just destroying it. So that's the other thing, don't destroy it when you're trying to. Maybe something someday will be better than what we have today.
There
So
was some place that digitized their very fragile records that they scanned it and they were able to recreate essentially the sound waves with the
Yeah.
grooves, and they were able to actually get it to play that way in a digital.
I'm trying to understand the depth of the groove would give the
Yeah.
playback.
A very high resolution scan of the micro
Yeah.
valleys and such.
Oh, wow.
I-
Unlimited budgets, unlimited time. Wow.
Unlimited
That's,
time.
yeah.
Northeast Document Conservation Center.
I think that might be it.
Yeah, because I think they had a huge grant for that.
Okay. So did they they couldn't do it any other way? That's why they did it this way?
Yeah,
I'm assuming.
The thing I'm thinking of, sorry, my brain's all over the place. I want to say it was one of the earliest recordings. It was on tinfoil. The earliest recordings in the way that we think of them. That you couldn't play tinfoil or cardboard more than.
Yeah.
And so they were able to scan the grooves and actually get some sound
Okay.
from it. It wasn't
Wow.
great because it was tinfoil.
Yeah.
But it was at least something for you to hear the very first
Amazing.
recorded.
Yeah. Have you seen the wire recordings? It's a little thin wire. Yeah, I've got a couple of them. I don't have a player, but if I ever get one, I want to see what's on them. But it's just like a little thing, looks like fishing line, but it's so thin. And so it's got a recording on wire.
I know you mentioned you do vinyl. Do you go much earlier in sound preservation, like
No.
wax cylinders? No?
No, I've had
Yeah.
people come in with some, and the players are really rare.
Okay.
So again, no parts, nobody to work on them.
Sure.
I mean, it's becoming an issue where the next generations are not learning how to repair these because there's unless it's, people that do what we do, there's nobody really using them. So,
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
at some point they won't be able to be digitized because it's, there's nobody who knows how to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How to
And
fix
no
it.
equipment.
Yeah, and no parts.
Yeah,
so people bring in old equipment all the time and say, do you want this? I'm like, well, that's a museum piece. I think Maslin might want it, so I'll send it to you. But no, we can't collect any more old equipment. So
Unless it's a wire.
unless it's a wire player and it works, right? Exactly. So I don't know. Anything else? Anybody have any issues with their collection that they're curious about what could be happening? I don't know if you guys know much about the high 8 format, the VHS tapes in high 8. They look like an audio cassette, same size. They start to get like a crystallization on the edges of the tape. So it's not a mold, it's just, and if you try pulling it off, it snaps the tape. It just keeps coming off. So you have to basically open it up, give it a tug to see if it'll tighten. Kind of there's techniques to get it. Don't throw it away, I guess is what I'm saying. Don't ever throw it away. There's a way to probably salvage it. We had an order from Puerto Rico where it had been through a hurricane. And yeah, I mean, I spent 40 hours peeling it off inch by inch. And I saved probably 50% of it because it would break every 3 feet and you splice it and keep going. But he really wanted it and he was willing to pay the time, so we saved most of it, 50%. So yeah, don't throw it away. We can try. But any other interesting customers?
Fire damage, do you have?
Smoke damage, sure, cleaned, put in new cases as long as it hasn't melted together. Water damage on film is the worst because then it does stick, the emulsion will stick to itself. Dampening it using a conditioner, we might be able to get it to pull apart and not lose the emulsion. Yeah, it's just everyone's unique. And yeah, we've straightened curled film with a heat process. Yeah.
But I'm sure at this point, you guys, if you have, whatever you have, you're keeping it in a safe place and, you know.
Hopefully it's not getting worse.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know, I guess to give you maybe an opportunity to brag or share, what do you consider among the most impressive projects you ever pulled off?
The Navajo Nation.
difficulty was like,
Yeah,
you
something
know,
that you thought, there might not be any way that we can do this, and then pulled it through.
Yeah, it would for me, it would be those videotapes from Puerto Rico. We also got hurricanes in Florida this past season. A couple of people had submerged home videos. I mean, literally sent them to me with water still in the case. And well, I told them to seal them up in bags. Don't dry them out. Just seal them, get them to me because I take them out and put them right into
like
the.
Ziploc bags, right? That's
Yeah,
what
I don't want them dry because once they dry, they bind and that's it. So I get them into my dehumidifier. I suck all the water out as fast as I can, get them into a case, run them, and I was able to save everything that they had. So it was. But had they waited a week or two and not put them in Ziplocs and mold had started to grow, it would have been a whole different story. So yeah, we can do it. We did a film reel for Navajo Nation.
Yeah,
Holmes County, yeah.
Historical Society.
It was really
pretty
cool.
Yeah,
The
they
guy
had
had-
a member whose father was a filmmaker and went out, I think it was in the 40s or 50s to Navajo Nations and videotaped how they make jewelry. And it
Not
had
video, film, 16 millimeter film.
16,
Yeah.
yeah.
Edited. He would go around
It
and
had
show it.
audio
Yeah.
And we were able, it had all these cracks, remember, and we were able to really clean it up, and it came out really very nice. I actually may have it on my flash drive.
So,
Really good.
but yeah, no, they were very happy with it. It really did show the Navajos at that time and what they were doing, and they were making their own jewelry, and they were quite the skilled craftsmen. So I don't know if they do it anymore. I really like the commercials from the Opera House commercials. That was just fascinating
Yeah,
to me.
especially because that sort of ephemera by historical standards is not always saved. So just sort of live advertisements just get thrown out.
Yeah, nobody thought there would be anything. I don't know.
And,
Yeah.
especially those are sort of document the history of amateur filmmaking.
Yeah,
Really.
right. Somebody had a great idea. I mean, they had the old time telephones,
Yeah.
just the stuff that you see in the movies, and that's what these
In
are.
my spare time,
This is the
That's the one,
That is pretty good.
right?
Phone 81.
Phone 81, right?
and that was nitrate, and nitrate's
Wow.
got that like scary label of,
Yeah, right,
It will explode.
right.
but you could do that.
Somebody, we just did some recently. It was a guy in Pennsylvania. He knew it was nitrate. He shipped it to us, knowing he wasn't supposed to. It came fine, but we couldn't just ship it back.
Yeah.
We transferred it fine. Everything was good. So we called around, and you have to have somebody that's certified in packaging this. And we found somebody in Cleveland, but he couldn't find a carrier to go to Pennsylvania. So we've arranged with this guy that we're going to meet halfway at some point, and because you can't find anybody. FedEx won't touch it. UPS, nobody will touch it. So they don't care.
My coworker is certified in case it pops up again.
Really?
Well, we found a certified person. We just couldn't find a carrier that would accept the certified package. They wouldn't do it.
Find
So.
out who they're using. It's really
Yeah.
I've also been looking for cold storage and nearby.
I know, oh, nearby. I don't think so. University of Akron does some
We just
cold
have
storage.
a freezer, just a freezer, like
Yeah.
commercial grade, like just normal kitchen freezer. We make sure that it stays at a certain temperature. We tested all of our film to test for vinegar syndrome using those little strips, the AZ strips. And, whatever was very vinegar syndrome, we bagged up and put in some moisture indicators and
Yeah.
set them in. So it only has to be, like, if you get the film to like 50 or 40 degrees, like it will last, like 500 years. Currently, we can only get our freezer to go up to 10 degrees, like that's as warm as it can go, so it will last, 800 years. Whether or not that's gonna be accurate, I don't know. But even just something that's, colder than normal everyday environment is an improvement. So, that's fine.
I know University of Akron has some in cold storage, but it's like Iron Mountain. He's paying some ridiculous amount of money, and it's
It's just this volume of stuff.
yeah.
The Whisper is for transcription, that's open AI, but it also, I think, does time code for closed captioning
Okay.
as well as transcription for oral.
So it's doing a straight transcription, not summary. Well, it can probably summarize that as well, so you can, yeah.
Person identification too, is what I think, so.
How to do person
From
identification.
voices, like from audio, I'm pretty sure they're using it to do that. So we've got various.
Oh, so the captions will say which of the speakers it is on the screen?
Once it identifies
Okay.
a voice, it will identify.
Matches it to the-
match it.
Okay. Not necessarily
pretty cool.
giving their name, if that's
Yeah.
not in the
Speaker 1, speaker 2, maybe,
Yeah.
something like that.
I'm not totally
No.
sure.
Though I guess eventually with enough connections, they might be able to figure
Right.
out who it is a video of and do identification mark.
Yeah, I think it has the capabilities of doing that. I know there's a lot of unknown speakers on the tapes and things, so it's been helpful in terms of at least identifying voices or grouping things, like taking a lot of that heavy lifting off.
Yeah.
So it's just OSUs have just a ton of stuff.
We've probably got a petabyte of video stored at our place that we want to
Just
make
out of
available
curiosity,
someday.
how large is your storage area just for the drives that you need?
My drives, I've only been doing drives full of everything that we do for the last 4 years.
Okay.
For our film work, we go back to 2012, and we were doing discs. And it's still stable on those discs. It's one of my projects is to get it off the discs and into, but then I'm looking at long-term storage. I want to do cloud, it's still not that cheap.
Yeah.
There's, it's where do you go with it? What do you do with it? So, yeah, I still have it available. I just need to make sure it stays current and relevant. But I also want to, make it searchable and put it. I want somebody to type in their grandfather's name and all the videos and pictures of that person pop up. And Google, I'm sure, is going to do that. If we put it out on YouTube long enough, they'll find some way to recognize everybody.
Ancestry's doing stuff like that with photos and immigration records.
I talked to them 2 years ago and said, "Why don't you do facial recognition?" He said, "It just freaks people out." It's just they're just
I think at some point it'll stop freaking people.
Yeah.
I mean, it still does, but.
The
yeah.
Patriot Act should have taken care of all those concerns. I mean, we're all identified everywhere. So, but yeah. So yeah, that's where I see it going.
That would be cool because I've done just a little bit of ancestry stuff on my family. I've got this weird pinch point in my dad's lineage where I know quite a bit about a few in the direct line, and I know quite a few after this point going back. But there's this one guy who I know when he was born. I know he was married a couple times. I know who his son was, but he dies for no real clear documented reason. When he's like 30, and I know nothing about him. So if that software eventually catches up to where somebody else
Fill in the
knows a little
gaps.
bit, somebody else
Yeah.
knows a little
Yeah.
bit, eventually it'd be nice because
Just listing possible matches.
yeah, just something.
But just things to think about from what we're talking about with archives, like a copyright standpoint too. That when we're thinking about the digitization and making it accessible, do we as organizations own the copyright to then make it publicly accessible and or reproduce it or use snippets or something like that. So it's a lot to think about
Right.
as we go through this whole data migration process because we need to migrate these materials.
Clearly, yeah. Do you guys get a release from the family that donates a collection to
So-
give you that copyright? Yeah, I thought
Yes, but for many small organizations, although Wendy gets to deal with every day, I hear grumble about it every day. Understandable. When you are an organization, we're a county historical society, that it started out as all volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
That there wasn't a formal deed of gift.
Right.
Yes.
Right?
I had to draft ours.
Yes, yes. So like they did the best that they did with the knowledge that they had and, as they were growing, so there's some items that, okay, so at what point do we assume that responsibility and have that authority to care for stuff? We have, I think she recently identified some items that are listed as being on loan to us.
Which was news to me.
Yes. I think it was like last week she sent me on a hunt to find something in my files. I'm like, oh hey, here are these other files that say these things are on loan, and then I ran. But that's the thing too. Though there might be some items that have been part of our permanent collection for, let's say, 40 years. Well, I mean, we can assume that the donor is no longer with us if they gave it 40 years ago. But we have to be very careful with that because are we taking the time to digitize these materials and we then can't use them? Or the preservation in the current state? And
What about format conversion?
like just doing straight up like migration?
No.
Format conversion, so you're taking an analog and making it digital. Just because there's no more analog source to play it with, so you're making it digital. Is that a copyright? Is that breaking copyright?
Depends on what you do with that digital file.
Yeah.
It would be
Sharing would be the problem.
And
Right.
and from where I sit as the executive director too, and having been in her shoes, working in collections and trying to think through, okay, so we have this murder board of like, okay, if we do this scenario, then it goes, this is what we have to be aware of. What are the resources that we are then expending, even if we are doing that work and sending it out to be move over from analog to digital? Well, if we don't own it, but we're expending our money on it, and like it becomes it becomes tied to the copyright, but also from the fiscal responsibility of well, what happens if we do all this and then it's a hot potato.
Yeah.
It is
Is there any time limit? Is there a 70-year time limit on like old 8mm film or 16mm film? I don't know.
So this is that's a great question.
And the whole next session that you're.
Right, yeah, that's a
We just
good.
created a whole. I say talk to the Society of Ohio Archivists, and they will answer the question for you. So if you're looking at like a family film, let's say, and it's like your father who like
Did the
recorded
recording? Yeah.
he would be considered the creator, so it's 70 years from like the date of his death.
Yeah.
Oh,
That the-
wow.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
at least because we're in a similar situation, there are certain laws that if it's prior to 1978, it does change when things enter into the public domain.
Yeah.
There are different laws for prior to 1978 creation or post 1978.
But also at the same time, if you have been given it, you're the one who now like
Yes.
Exactly.
owns that
Right.
So
right to it.
have a deed of gift
Yeah.
that outright says, or like, don't worry, we're updating ours because I want more language in ours.
Yeah.
Just to scare everyone into signing over their, firstborn child and everything. But it's important from that standpoint because we have a ton of materials in our collection and a lot of stuff that's sitting in our basement in one of our houses that we're like, we know it's there, but we're not gonna look at it right now. Because how do we prioritize it when we have no resources to do that right now and
Yeah.
understand like when it was created and how did we get them, because we've had former staff, you know who I'm talking about,
But
you just like bring stuff.
but on the plus side, so back in the 80s, they formed a committee to interview Ashland County veterans.
Yes.
And that's all on VHS, right? But there was a form that they signed.
Really, sure.
saying
Yeah, that was
they
smart.
saying,
Release.
you
Good.
know, like
Right.
it's okay that you do
Yeah.
whatever you want with this information. And that is a digitization project that I would like to get done before
Yeah.
we risk
Yeah,
those deteriorating.
Oh,
Yeah.
we have a lot of those. We have a lot of those.
You said there were things in the basement. Now that is a climate-controlled basement, right?
Uh,
Okay.
Unlimited
Okay.
money, right? All right, on that note, folks, unfortunately that is the end of our session. Thank you to our lovely
Thank you.
speakers.
Thank you.